We're streaming live. I see it.
All right. Just load in there, and then I have to mute, and we'll be off to the races.
All right. Poor lighting.
All right, man, we're good to go.
All right. Hey.
Everybody, this is Dwight Clark, 3D concept artist, illustrator, and co-host of Sidebar Nation and Sidebar Forever.
Hey, how's it going, Chad?
Good.
Good.
I've been a big follower of theirs for going on 11-ish years now. Had a chance to meet the guys a few years ago at Spectrum in Kansas City.
Yep, that was awesome, Chad.
It's a big treat, and thought it'd be cool to just kind of come full circle and talk with one of the guys that got me listening to podcasts in the first place, and definitely done some of my favorite interviews ever. And Greg Ruth is my last guest, and I'm pretty sure I found out about Greg Ruth through the podcast. So
right, he's an incredible illustrator, man. I mean, I'm flattered to even be considered in the same conversation with that guy in terms of a podcast, you know.
George Pratt said to tell you hi too.
Oh, George is awesome. George is awesome. He's an incredible guy.
He'll be on tomorrow night.
Right. I might have to sneak in the back door on that one and see if I can, you know, do a little three-way roundtable with you guys if it's cool. You know, maybe we'll see how it goes. But yeah, man. So basically, here we are. This is Chad's Wonder Child. I think he can tell you more about why we're doing this first, and then so why did you were telling me earlier before we came on why you thought this was a good idea and what it is a good idea and what you're trying to accomplish with this situation.
It's really just like a key I kind of saw out of my own little imminent sad sack, you know, a little bit. And obviously I've been working on a bunch of stuff, and I was really looking forward to Kansas City a few weeks ago and then WonderCon this weekend.
Right.
And so I thought, as much as I listen to podcasts and you know, things of that nature, why not kind of give it my own shot? And I reached out to some people, and I've been overwhelmed with the response, and it's been really cool.
Nice. This is the COVID-19 response to most things, sir. It's like, you know,
right.
The indomitable will of the human spirit always pushes through to find ways of getting things done. You know what I mean?
I figured the sooner I tried to get a handle on it, the better, since, you know, who knows how long this is going to be this way.
Right. I mean, I think the truth is somewhere out there, but it's a question of, like, they don't really want to scare us with what it actually really is.
Yeah.
So they keep pushing dates back, and you know, oh, add 30 more days onto that. Add 30 more days onto that.
Well, either way, it's completely changed the face of the comic book industry, you know.
For sure.
And a lot of industries, but you know, so much about comics has come to a grinding halt. I mean, my whole foreseeable career just basically went whoop. So
right. Well, actually, it didn't, man. Here's the thing about that. I'm turning this to the side here a little bit. Let's see. There we go. It's a little cooler, I think. There we go. A little more light in the face. Not to smoke watching, but the thing about that, man, it's interesting. I know what you're talking about, because I was surprised that like Steve Jeppy basically brought Diamond distribution down to a grinding halt. And I understand the reasoning behind that. I get it. But at the same time, Chad, I'm like, okay, if you already had some in the pipe, why not just let those go through to the comic book distributor or comic shop owners, so they can have something to either do a handoff to their individual, you know, buyers, to individual patrons, or find some other ingenious way of doing it. I mean, yeah, I get it. You know, COVID-19 spreads, God knows how at this point. I mean, it's person-to-person contact. It's you know, spittle, gas, small micronized gases we don't see, all those different things. But at the same time, it's like, I guess the show must go on. But to grind it, not to be ignorant about it, but I guess at some point, the overall good outweighs the potential for what it could be transmitted through comic and hand-to-hand contact. So I acquiesce. But as far as it like ending careers, not necessarily. I mean,
well, I don't think it's ending per se, but it's what that the projection of where I was headed with it is out the door, and I'm a believer that it's not canceled; it's just delayed.
Right.
And, I still have plans when these conventions occur later in the summer at the end of August to attend.
Right.
And it changes my immediate game plan is all. But
yes.
I know some people are really, really getting hit hard by this. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do too. My day job is spent in I guess you could say the second tier medical industry. So I'm still out there working and going to and doing public service on a regular basis. So I'm still working, but I am going to take some time off because, I have loved ones at home that can't be guaranteed the safety every time I go home with possible germs and virus on me. So in the next week, I'll be taking some time off and really focusing on building my work and my portfolio with the new skills I've added from, some things I've done recently. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna take my vacation early. I didn't want to take it like this, I didn't want to take friggin', 4 weeks off in a row, with a brand new year. But time goes by fast, and before we know it, we're looking at June, and all this will be over hopefully by June, and we can get some kind of sense. We want to go back to normal. We're going to be a lot more conscious and a lot more cautious with the way we conduct ourselves on daily activities and daily lives. But I think it's definitely going to force us to recalibrate and reassess our daily comings and goings.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, man. So let's talk about some positive things, man. That's just going to come out of this. I mean, I think, like you said, this forced you to think about something new and put you in a situation where you can, grow outside of what your normal spaces were into other options, other opportunities. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely, and Greg and I were talking about that earlier, and it's something I've been talking with other artist friends and my collaborator Deb. She's also a high school art teacher.
Right. Thanks.
You look at the Black Plague, and that beget the Awakening, which beget the Renaissance.
That's very true.
And I think you're seeing so many people turn towards art and trying new things like right now and stepping outside, or even if it was just a very passive hobby for them, they're starting to take it a little more serious and be like, all right, how can I develop this skill into something that is a little bit sustainable for myself? And I think you're gonna see something similar to that. For a modern time, and that excites me. It excites me to see the love and faith that people are putting into their artwork, their music, their projects, their crafts, their cooking,
right.
Their families.
Yeah. And I think that's something we kind of got away from to some degree in terms of the ease and accessibility of these mechanisms we use to put forth our images and things like that. I mean, it's still good for that, of course, but the human quality, definitely the reconnection with who we are as individuals, which is our family and our immediate family and surroundings, and then expanding our families into venues like this. I mean, I've seen more interesting and brilliant ways of using this technology for the past 2 weeks than I've ever seen.
Right.
People doing jam sessions, full jam sessions and Zoom with like multiple cameras going at the same time and in sync and sounding really good with it. It's incredible things, So I always knew technology was headed there and I always thought about it going there. But I never thought it would be a thing where we're forced to make it a tool for day-to-day communication and keeping in contact with our friends and family. You know, so I mean,
it's already, and I was going to end up talking to you about this anyway. A few years back when I did the Rocketeer Anniversary Gallery show.
Right.
My best buddy growing up was John Payne, the sculptor.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with his
John Payne.
work. Yeah.
No,
he's active. He's active in like the Shiflett Brothers forums and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Cool. But he had the Oculus Rift, and I got the chance to try that out, and that was like the biggest game changer I've ever experienced.
Amazing, buddy.
This I think is a precursor to that.
Yes.
Kind of like on a cultural level, you know.
Yes, man. I use Oculus Rift. As a matter of fact.
Exactly. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah. Thanks. Nice segue. I guess I should have announced it and killed the lead, but I've been doing this for how many years and still don't get certain little subtle things. Anyways, yeah, man. Right behind me here, there's a couple of images on the wall, which is a story I'm working on currently for my IP called Benefactor War. And should I share the screen or how's that work?
I was gonna say I got a screen share ready.
Cool.
I can't see what's on your screen, but I've got your website up here.
Okay, cool. Okay, has started sharing the screen. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Well, that's
Are you seeing the Vector Knight?
Yeah, the Vector Knight, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Vector Knight is actually another one of the guys we both follow, I'm sure. Jake Parker. He has this thing during Inktober.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has this thing called Inktober. And everybody was using ink, and I used ink in the past, and I had to constantly challenge myself with new things, Chad. Otherwise, I get bored. So I'd done the ink thing for a number of years. So I wanted to do something different. So I say, why not do Vectober? It kind of has a little punch to it, and little name brand usefulness to it. So I did that, and that's where the Vector Knight came from. But the image you see here, that's one of my stores. That's actually what Chad was talking about earlier. That's Oculus created 3D image using software called Medium, which was acquired last year by Adobe, which could be a good thing. I tend to look at it as a good thing because I see where Adobe acquires things. They have a tendency to either change it, adapt it, and absorb it, or they can take it and adapt it to where it actually fits in a manner which expands the creativity of individuals. So hopefully they do the latter. And I think maybe inside of that, we'll find the spot where this needs to be totally to make it a really totally expansive and formidable package to be professional. It's great right now the way it is, and but there's some things which it can't do, which I'm trying to make it do, that I'm learning to adapt to make it do. What you see here is a helmet I did for using Medium, and it's I think it's entirely Medium. Well, there's a couple of ZBrush tools in there that I implemented, but mostly it's Medium. And it's what's called rendered in a program called Keyshot, which gives you nice solid product rendering if you apply different textures and things to the mesh that was exported to it. So yeah, that's me drawing on my iPad. Yeah, that's another example of another ship that I have created it totally inside of that is totally 100% inside of Medium. What I do is when I create it in Medium, I export it to ZBrush, because what I started doing my workflow to make things sharper and a lot cleaner. There's a thing inside of modeling called topology, and it's very critical when you're using it to put it inside of games, because games require a certain amount of squares and rectangles and clarity, and it gets to be a bit heavy, a bit bulky if you use too many of those squares and triangles to render. And you want to try to minimize that so you get the maximum performance out of what's called a game engine. And what you see right here is just me worrying about getting a good quality image for what's called a high poly image for presentation. I wasn't concerned about how it fit inside of the game engine. I have to go back inside of it and down and de-res it and make it low poly so that everything you see here still fits and still looks like it would, but it would be digestible and calculable inside of a game engine. But it's hardly finished. It's good. I mean, it looks fine the way it does.
I think it's beautifully done.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I love the soft focus. It just gives it a lot of movement.
Thank you. But yeah, so that's first story I'm working on currently. Again, back to Benefactor War. It's a long story. That's a frontal image of it. That's a character from it. And again, that's like this would fit inside of a game engine because the way it's done, I took it made it in medium, and then I ported it into ZBrush, and I exported ZBrush from ZBrush as what's called an object file, OBJ. And I took it into this free software anybody can use out there that allows you to pose it and put not a spline, but a posable mesh in it, and it makes the character move, and it's just really cool. It's Adobe has that too. I forgot the name of it right now; it escapes me. But
just started in Clip Studio to start to build 3D reference figures.
Right.
And
yeah.
Figure out my camera angle and stuff. I've just started playing with that.
Yeah, dude, it's totally a tool that anybody that's in illustration, anybody that's any kind of creative field would profit from. I mean, why not do it? This whole idea and concept that I had when I was growing up as a kid and during early years of using too much reference is cheating. Dude, the job is a job is a job. Get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. The illustrators are old. They were using all kinds of reference and stuff, dude. I mean, the comic book artists that I grew up on, were using all kinds of reference. They weren't, really interested in bringing it to the forefront because nobody really cared about that back then. It was just getting the job done in a timely manner so they could publish it and keep everybody interested and engaged in the property. So yeah, man, that whole idea is good. I'm glad you're using it because you're gonna start to see like all kinds of leaps in your work using it, dude. Man, one of our favorite artists, one of my favorite artists, a long time ago, not Justin Sweet, another JC. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. Looking at my bookshelf here, and I'm not really seeing it fully. John Foster. He's been using ZBrush for years, dude, and he blew me away with that, dude. I was like, wait a minute. You did what? That character you had posed like that was what? I wasn't expecting that from him because everybody thinks of him as being a traditional and/or digital painter, not realizing that, the posability of certain things inside of 3D modeling is just, an incredible tool to utilize and get your thoughts out that fast and much more, clearer. So yeah, I was like, wow. And he was good at it, dude. I mean, it's like, he wasn't just like farting around with it. This dude had like good, solid, musculature and form language in it that blew me away. So that's my take on it. So as my expanding interest as an artist growing, because one of the things when we started Sidebar, I think I did a disservice to myself to some degree, is I didn't admit to the fact that I was a struggling artist myself. I put that aside because I want to give the full stage to the artists who we're talking about representing, because that's what we're there for. We're there to give them all the accolades on which they were doing. But at certain times, I pipe up and say different things, and you're like, "Oh, you do art too?" It's like, well, yeah, kind of tinge, you know.
Yeah.
But I was, I was studying even then, dude. I was taking what they were talking about, and George Pratt and all the various other illuminating artists that have been on the show before, taking that and putting my own wheelhouse and spinning around. It was eating at me, and I was sketching sometimes in interviews, dude. Like, but it was just like crazy little, not even thumbnails, just little doodles and stuff. But some of those doodles actually became final images. I mean, later on down the line, I was like, okay. So I still had the fever. It was still inside of me, So I was doing freelance things here and there all along, but I decided, man, I want to go full bore into this, man. I want to really keep pushing and trying to make my dreams kind of come to life. That's what it was about, dude. It's not about wanting anything. I mean, I want somebody to enjoy it. I want them to get something from it, creatively and intellectually, and be inspired spiritually, do their own thing. But I also want to be able to say, okay, at the end of my life, everything I had to give, I gave. So.
Oh, absolutely, man.
And I imagine that's what it's about for you as well, Chad. I mean, yeah, being published, which self-publishing is a thing now, more than ever. Get a following, you can self-publish your ass off. But nobody ruin any kind of, I don't too many expletives and things like that. So like people have like common usage of this. But self-publishing is the way to go, dude. I mean, it just is. I mean, building your following, hand to mouth, hand in hand, talking to people, getting them interested in expressing yourself. That's what you've always done anyway, man. When I first met you at the con in Kansas City, you had your little table set up. You were going into it, man. I admire that, dude. That was impressive.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. And, a lot of the inspiration to do that for the years has come from you guys, because I grew up in a small town in Montana, and, nobody could relate to a little arty kid that wanted to draw comics, It was so far outside the wheelhouse. And, in my formative years, I missed so much great art, and I've talked to George about this before too, about I wish that I would have known, who J.C. Landecker was when I was,
sure.
15 years old, I wish I knew who, George Pratt and Kent Williams and those guys were, like, before I was already kind of like developed as a Z-level artist,
Yeah.
And it's been throughout most of my 20s, I actually didn't really draw at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up coming back to it, and it's been a fight, and I've had the fortune to, like, when I lived in Austin, France, and Orlando Sanchez would let me come in for live drawings at the art department.
Cool.
That's where I first met George, and just getting to look over those guys' shoulders a little bit and seeing how they process shape and color. Like, it's like all of a sudden within those 2 years, I went from being a Z-level artist to like maybe a D-level artist, and like now I'm, climbing up the ladder from there. But
yeah.
You guys have been an education for me in that way. I've discovered so much from your podcast. And
thank you.
As artists, we spend a lot of time in isolation, and with our own thoughts, and it's been a tremendous relief, just to hear the fights in our heads and in our environments that we're all going through, trying to figure all of this out.
Exactly. No, seriously, dude. It's all about, I mean, at some point you have to have some sense of communal value, and there needs to be some sense of like realistic connection and building between people to establish a greater sense of self-being and a greater sense of understanding the world that surrounds you, interpretation of the world, like when I was growing up, for me, it was I was totally into comics, dude. I mean, I had the fortune to meet quite a few artists when I was like super duper young, but too stupid to know who they were. But um, as I started growing up in my formative years, you know, in the mid to late '80s, I guess you can say, in terms of me being involved in art, interested in it. I met some really cool people, man, and they kind of changed my world a lot. You know, I met interestingly enough, and it's there's a guy here in Atlanta um, who he's now a councilman, and I knew him when he was a kid drawing comics, and his comics were so good, dude, to inspire me to do it. You know, yeah, and he's a councilman now, and if I talk to him now, he'd probably be surprised because we were rivaling schools. I was at one school as another, but there was a guy in my neighborhood that brought him to my attention because we were in the comics and together, and you know, he would talk about him, and he brings some of his works like, oh, a kid did this, you know. He's like, yeah, but this guy now, and like you said, he put it down, and he probably isn't drawn to this day, you know, because of his chosen profession, and also because maybe he lost a loving feeling. You know, that's the thing. You know, you can't lose that loving feeling, dude. Like the Righteous Brothers said, you have to kind of. I mean, it happens. You know, as you mature, right?
Yeah.
And you do what you do what you want to do. So I may contact him one of these days, man, and say, hey, man, do you remember the story you did? You know, do you remember this picture? You know, it's like, dude, where'd you get that from? You know, it's like, yeah, dude. And you never met me, but I knew you, and we were jamming together. You didn't realize it. I would do a version of a character. I give it to this other guy who was like the intermediary. And he would take it to you, and you would do a better version of that shit. You know, and I wasn't pissed. I wasn't pissed off about it. I was grateful for it, dude, because I learned a lot of things from him that I never learned before. So
I'm not mad. I'm impressed.
Exactly. I'm too impressed to be mad, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like that. So, but yeah, man. So like you said, you know, Sidebar was crazy in the beginning because, not to give a full retrospective on it, but Swain, I had no intention of it being what it turned into being. It was a matter of just two friends getting to talking about stuff, and lucky to invite you know, artist of merit at the time, Dexter Vines, into the mix as far as our first professional guest goes, and we just kind of we're in the right place at the right time to be doing something that was new. Podcasting wasn't a big deal back then. It was new, and it was new enough to where anybody can get in and get on and kind of express themselves in a manner which was somewhat interesting and engaging and thoughtful. You know, I'm thankful for those times. And like I said, I never would have met you. I never met George Pratt. I never met any of these people, man. I mean, I of course knew who George Pratt was. I mean, I was a big fan of Enemy Ace when I was growing up. Dude, it was like, this was painted? How long did it get? Yes, sir. Yes, of course. Of course. Go ahead and roll some of that beautiful beam footage, man. Show some of those pictures, dude.
It's I'll show it on the other camera when I talk to George, but that's the original that he did in the book at Spectrum for me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Incredible artist, man. Incredible artist. Incredible teacher. Really giving man. I think super high George, man. We had a conversation back at Spectrum.
He's influenced me just as much, if not more, as a person and a human being, as he has as an artist. You know?
Yeah,
so.
yeah, man. I mean, he's humble to his core, and he's a teacher to his heart, dude. You know,
yeah.
But he's an extremely fascinating, accomplished artist. I mean, to watch George is to watch a freak show and a wonder kind doing his damn thing. You know.
And no matter what tool or medium he's got in his hands.
Yeah, man. He kills it, dude.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, man. You're in for a treat, dude. And you know, we had a conversation at the last Spectrum we went to. I think this is the one when I think essentially Kathy and Arnie stepped away from the book production, but not the production as far as the show goes. And we're talking about this painting that wow, another name for it. This great artist that I totally admire had done, and he was picking things out of it that I hadn't noticed before, and I'd seen it in the books, reproductions in the books, but I look at it closely, it's like, damn, it's like, wow, you're right. That was what this was, you know. And because the thing about reproduction back then, it's not as good as it is now, as far as having cameras you really can pick up on the smallest, you know. There's a fall off, you know, and that particular part of the image fell off. But to see it in person, it's like it was all there in vivid color and texture and design, and it just blew me away. And for George to tell me about it, interpret it, and his calm and learned and appreciative voice, it made that much more incredible for me. So I thank him for that. But yeah, man. So you know, that's in a nutshell. You know, what else am I doing? Working hard, dude. Trying to take this to the next level. There's so much behind the scenes stuff, Chad, that I was ignorant to. I mean, comics is one level, but this thing I'm going for now, it goes beyond comics and goes into almost into cinematic, like trailer making. I didn't really want to go there per se, but I'm realizing my vision. Every time I close my eyes, I'm not really seeing lines anymore. I'm seeing like these photographic representations of crap, you know, and it's annoying because I really love the drawing part, you know, and I think my drawing is gonna be better because of this. But where I'm headed now, I've become more of a technician in terms of the programs and stuff I'm using to accomplish these tasks. Even though ZBrush is a great tool, I still use that a lot, and Medium's even better. Medium's like digital clay. I mean, wherein ZBrush brags about that, Medium's accomplished that. Because you're in a VR space, it's around you. You can be inside the cockpit, dude.
It's a totally different Unreal level, and it's really you know, forever I had this idea of doing like a music album with a comic. That was like the Is It project. I spent, you know, kind of a decade or more working on that, and it was always just like never hitting the right string that I wanted to translate to the audience. And the first time that I went into VR and started actually like making something that was nearly tangible, you know, like in front of me out of you know, light, basically. I was like, oh, this is it. This is, now I can combine the visual, the music, and the complete fantasy of like skipping from dimension to dimension into a thing. And right now I'm definitely still doing, you know, comic storytelling and storyboards and writing, but in the future for sure that's going to be something I tackle.
Yeah, man. And you're gonna love it when you do, dude. And by then it would have been perfected. Hopefully in the next 2 years, when Adobe gets a hold of it, or they have a hold of it, once they come up with something that's going to be their first emergent program based on their studies with the rest of their suite. It'll be something that's like really formidable, dude. And it's gonna rock the industry, dude. I mean, no hyperbole intended. Not intended to be a prognosticator, but I'm a little prognosticator. I'm telling you, a lot of these standard programs that are being used for making stuff, dude, they'll still be there, but the focus is going to be put into this as another part of the industry, which is going to give the people have more access to it to be able to bring their creative works to the screen and to the games and so on and so forth. And that's not what I'm aiming now, dude. If you look at my portfolio, my website, www.clarkworkborn.com. Shameless plug. You'll see that's what I'm gearing myself towards. There's a crazy mishmash of those things. Totally built medium. And combination medium and ZBrush. totally built in medium. Just things like that, dude.
I gotta ask, since we're gonna do the announcement for my book tomorrow.
Sure.
I've been talking to you about it for a while. You still want to do a 3D render of the cricket character for me?
Oh, hell yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Just give me some more sides. Give me, you know, like a, you know, top, front.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll get you covered.
Cool. That's what's up. And I'll do that for sure.
I was originally gonna have my buddy John Payne that I was talking about do it, but he just had a new baby. He's got his hands full, full
yeah.
for a while. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, it'll be fun, dude.
just gotta go back the other way here.
Interesting.
Oops.
It's okay. Oh, that's my two. Oh, okay, yeah, cool. So landing gear, that's totally made in medium. All that stuff is all that's from medium.
So really love this. Like
Thanks,
right
man.
here. It just looks so functional.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a character coming out, dude. A whole series of characters are coming out that are based on that technology I'm using there. And I haven't put them up fully yet because I like the surprise, you know, the finished thing. And that last thing you saw, the ship scale thing, that's actually, those are various sizes of different things inside of the universe I'm creating. Like that, the hugest thing you see there is that's behind. That's the Battlestar Galactica size ship of one of my storylines. Everything you see here is actually to scale of how big or small that it is to fit inside of that transport back there. So it's just huge. It's huge. You're talking about the size of several football fields.
Wow.
So, yeah, easily. So it's kind of crazy. But so yeah, a lot of stuff, dude. I need to be better about posting. You know, I need to be better about posting. And like my website needs serious updating love. Oh, I want to show you something. So go back to the main page of the website. They'll give you a better idea of I have a turnaround there somewhere. And okay, scroll down. Okay, scroll down more, a little more. Okay, the design experience. Okay, if you click on that, Vimeo, it'll give you a nice little turnaround sequence. That's the thing. Well, there's no audio on anyway. And then click on the expansion icon, please. Okay.
There we go.
And that's one of my ships. I built totally inside of medium. And a little shameless advertising. A little more shameless advertising.
There we go.
Yeah. And this is all rendered inside of ZBrush. What I do is when I finish the actual medium image, like I said before, I put it into ZBrush to get a better idea of how it will render, solidify as a render, in basic what's called a best render mode for ZBrush, without any coloring, little metallic standard rendering brush that comes along with the package. But it turns more than that. It turns like in different angles and stuff. But
Yeah, it's not a liking doing that on the feed too much.
okay, it's freezing. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, so that and there's a weapon that's on there that I take apart and show you how I made it somewhat. There's different segments and it all comes together to be one weapon as a turret, a gun for the ship. And just fun stuff like that, man. I love building technical stuff, dude. I always have, even as a kid, I was a Lego freak. I had Star Wars toys and shit. I'm sorry to stop cursing, dude.
Hey, it should be fun.
Okay. I had Star Wars toys, man, that I would take and reappropriate to make my own version of those things.
Oh,
So
for sure. Yeah.
It's always been kind of a kit basher anyway.
Yeah.
So when it finally became a vogue thing inside of the way people express themselves for art. So that's right in my alley. I could do that. You know, I could take a piano string and wrap around somebody's neck and call it a necklace. You know, I can do that. So man. You know what's strange, Chad, and I think you probably feel this way too, man. As you get older, man, you stop waiting less for permission, dude, and start doing shit. Like, I think when I was younger, dude, I was always waiting for permission for someone to tell me it's okay to do it this way. You know what I mean? And certain artists I followed, of course, didn't give a crap about that. I wish I'd known George a long time ago then too, man, because I'm sure he would have broke down a lot of barriers for me in that regard. But I always thought, okay, there's one way to do comics. There's one way to do illustration. I got to find out the way they do it so that I can do it. And there's some actually practical knowledge in doing it that way, no doubt. But as soon as you learn that stuff and the right way to walk, I think you should somewhat immediately take some liberties to create some things for yourself and create things no matter which is best and beneficial for you.
Yeah.
I think Bill Sienkiewicz basically kind of broke the barrier for me for comics. And I started saying, okay, well, damn, Bill's doing painting, I mean.
Well, and not just that, but he's down to its most basic level. He's just like transferring energy,
Yeah.
Whereas he's using the most basic thing you could possibly imagine, but making it the most powerful image, with its reduction and just relying on the sheer energy, momentum, movement, passion of that shooting from the hip kind of.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. Well stated. Yeah, that's exactly what he did, man. It was a gutsy, no one gets out of here alive concept, and I'm just going to do this because this is what I feel like doing. And I appreciate a lot of artists like that. And I think for more as I got in my older years, man, I started. Well, here's the thing. The truth of it is, I've never been a good copier anyway. Like, I try to draw like George, didn't happen. I try to draw I got kind of close to drawing like Bill, but not really. I try to draw like John Byrne, didn't happen. Steve Rude, definitely didn't happen. So it's like, okay, what's the best Dwight I can be?
Right.
and live through that, dude, and just be Dwight. So
part of the reason that a lot of my 20s I didn't draw, because aside from having a very, very frustrating high school art experience,
right?
I just wanted to be Travis Charest,
right?
And I'm never ever going to be Travis Charest, it's just right. And nor should I want to be,
right? Because once I mean, they have a Travis already, and you're not going to command Travis's price, so
right. Yeah.
Just be the best Chad you can be.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right, man. Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, wanting to be, I guess, Bill Sienkiewicz or any Mobius, or any other kind of artist that's out there. It's just not Jimenez, who just passed, rest in power. Any of those guys, man, it just wasn't feasible. It wasn't a reality that could be accomplished. And it's just a thing where you realize, man, okay, or even more contemporaries, like Brian Stelfreeze, it's like, wanting to be that guy. It's like no, that's not in your cards, kid, and because there's an understanding they have with those things, facility with those tools they have. It's based on their own energy and their own soul stuff.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what they bring to it. They're not bringing anybody else besides into it. Yeah, they may have some trappings and surroundings of various artists which they look up to, but we all do because that's our influences.
Yeah.
But they're not. You're never gonna. They're not trying to be anybody else other than themselves. And once you get to my point, once you give yourself permission to be you, that's when you start achieving the most. I think. You know.
That's the T right there.
Yeah. So I talk too much, man. Sorry.
Oh no, man, loving it.
Good. But yeah,
We're
man.
getting close to an hour here.
Are we? Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, man. So yeah, man. I just I wish you the best, man. I want you to continue on your journey. You know what I mean? I want you to continue to do everything that you want to do and accomplish. Like Captain America shirt, by the way. It's cool. And
Hey, right back at you, Dwight, man. I've been loving watching you on your journey, and it's been a tremendous honor to go from fan to friend.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that, dude.
Thank you.
I'm nobody to be a fan of, dude. Like I said, I'm just a dude who was in a place at a time, just doing some stuff with another friend, and it took off.
Shout out to Swain and Adrian.
Most definitely. Adrian Johnson.
You guys.
Right. Yeah.
You guys and your families in our thoughts. So.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Likewise, brother. Likewise. Sidebar forever.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it is. You know, and we have some more shows coming out. They're still being congealed together, and it's a different format. You know, we kind of lost our structure a little bit in terms of like interviewing, but it's not totally out of the consideration now for that to reoccur again at some point. Right now, it's just a group of dudes getting together talking about stuff that they like and chopping it up. And
there's never been a better time than now to like really have those roundtable
discussions.
Discussions on stuff. I've been digging it. So
Yeah. So what about you, man? So this is your YouTube channel? What's going on?
Yeah, I haven't used it in a couple of years and decided to dust it off. But
right.
I'm enjoying it, and there's some people I talked to that weren't able to come on this weekend, but would still like to do it. So
right.
I think I'll keep doing it in the future for a little while and see where it goes.
Yeah, man.
So got Brandon Grant later tonight. I'm going to be launching my own book tomorrow. I'm talking to Ingrid Rios and George Pratt, and I believe Tony Harris is going to come on. We haven't
cool.
quite decided on a time yet.
Nice.
There's some other people in the queue. We'll see if we can work things out. It's Easter weekend, so it's a little
right. Well, I mean, everybody's trapped though. So the plans they had for Easter weekend, you may find yourself having an audience that you hadn't planned on.
Right.
So yeah, that's cool. And plus, if they already plan on doing the con anyway, dude, this is an outlet for them to give their love to that sort of thing. So
yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have a dedicated following or anything, but hopefully, kind of in hindsight, this will be a cool resource for people to go back to. And
dude. And honestly, man, I mean, it all starts with, like you said, with the intent and the energy, dude. I mean, like, you can't. There's no straight path to success, and there's no. You never know what's gonna take off for you. You never know like how things are gonna go and which direction. You just kind of ride that wave, dude.
What's the old saying? Once you make it through one door, they nail it shut behind you.
Right. Yeah. No, seriously, and use that as a platform to propel you to other opportunities and things, man. Just keep building. So yeah, I'm proud of you, man. This is a good opportunity. It's a great opportunity for me too. Thank you for having me on, dude. I'm not gonna.
Thank you, Dwight, man. It's been a real pleasure, and I love giving the throwback to Sidebar, where this very thing really all started with me, and man, podcasts now take up like 80% of my entertainment periphery. So
Right. No, same here, man. I mean, I listen to so many, dude. But a lot of the repeat offenders I listen to. Like I've kind of gotten away from comic book podcasts in particular, but I've gotten into, there are a few I still listen to, but I've gotten more into listening to other creative podcasts and some science podcasts and some writing podcasts and various other. This is podcast for everybody, you know.
Yeah,
and
there's so much value out there, you know.
it really is, man. It really is. And I mean, I recommend exposing yourself to many different things. Not you in particular, but anybody, any of your listeners are probably already doing it. To listen to us, or definitely listen to other things.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's the way to go, man. You know, one more thing. I think this thing as far as e-learning goes, I think it's a super fantastic resource into the future, because well, not but it's also a thing where I think people are moving forward towards a different level of community that goes well beyond just the physical bounds of a brick and mortar establishment. You know, I think even for kids, it's good for kids to, yeah, I mean, they go outside and play. You exercise those muscles, you do stuff. But I think teaching of the future, dude, this is it. Like, they're getting an example of that these few months to where they're forced to be at home and do that. That's where it has to go. That's where it has to go.
I'm gonna talk with George about that tomorrow too, since you know he's been involved with this for a long time with the Illustration Academy and stuff like that. So
you're online, so
it'll be interesting to kind of have his perspective as somebody that's been way ahead of the curve on
seriously,
that,
so. seriously. Yeah, man, he's been doing it for years that way. And
yeah, man. Well, yeah. If you want, be on standby tomorrow. And I'm sure George wouldn't mind you dropping in at all. I wouldn't mind it. So
it'd be awesome. What time is he coming on tomorrow?
7 p.m. Eastern.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I'll be the Joe job, dude.
Okay.
But, yeah. But
we'll send you some love anyway.
Do that, man. And I'll do you have your comments open on your channel?
There should be, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely comment. I may sneak away for a few minutes and log in and check on you guys and send a quick comment or something like that. And yeah.
Cool.
Well, or I even send you a comment. I'll text you directly and say, you know, hey, Chad, ask him this question, man. Yeah. So,
yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Well, thank you very much, Dwight.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
All the very best to you, and
likewise.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah, man. You too, man.
Keep us updated, and I'll keep you updated, and we'll talk again soon.
Indeed, man. Keep on keeping on.
All right, we'll be back at 10 p.m. with Brandon Graham. Thank you all for joining us for Wonder What-A-Con. Have a good evening.
Stay safe.
You too.
Cheers. Bye.